So today we are going to discuss on how to configure a domain controller. So if you work in a company, we have well, first of all, we have the primary domain controller, and we always have a secondary domain controller. So in case the primary domain controller goes down, then users should be able to connect to their computers and still have access to their file and other information. But for this test environment, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to just install the primary domain controller so that we shouldn't take our time installing the secondary one. Then I'm going to install a workstation and actually connect it to the domain controller. So I'm working actually with a VMware Workstation version 15. Let me just show you here. I'm working with version 15. So I'm going to create a new virtual machine. Just go to File and start new virtual machine. Here I'm going to install, let me say I'm going to install the operating system later. So I'm going to choose for Windows Server 2019. But mind you, Windows Server 2019 is not available here on this VMware Workstation 15. But we can just select 2016 and install 2019, which will still work very well. So I'm going to just click Next. I'm going to browse to a folder where I'm going to install this virtual machine. So let me just install it here. I'm going to say create a new folder, and I'm going to do the following 001. So, okay, and this is going to be my domain controller 01. So click next, and here we have the option. Let me just make this 150 gigabytes and click next. I can as well customize my hardware. I have like 2 gigabytes of memory, 2 processor, and let me just increase this to 4 gigabytes to make my system very fast. For the operating system, I'm going to add that later, and the network, I'm going to leave it in NAT. So just click close and finish. And here I'm going to edit the virtual machine, and let me just insert the operating system I want to install. It's an ISO image. I'm going to browse to it, and here I'm going to go to my software. It's a Windows Server 2019, and I'm going to select the 64-bit and click OK. So I'm going to do the same thing for a new virtual machine for Windows 10. So let's just select, I'm going to install it. Let me select Windows 10, and then I'm going to install it on the same folder. I'm going to call this one 001, so workstation, okay, and then one, click next. I'm going to store the 60 gigabyte will be enough for the workstation. So let me just customize the hardware. Right now we have 1 gigabyte. Let me just put 4 gigabytes to make it more faster and click finish. And for the workstation, I'm going to also edit the machine to include the operating system we are going to install. So let me just click on a CD, use image, browse, and here I'll be going to my software. So Windows 10 Enterprise, and then open it, click OK. And right now we can start the virtual machine. I'm going to start the virtual machine show, but I'm not going to wait for the installation process because it may take some time for the installation to complete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be just doing it step by step so that we can follow it. So I'll be pausing the video and then click continue so that I shouldn't take much of time during the installation process. So the machine is now. So here we have the option you can see it's a Windows Server 2019. So let me just choose my time and currency, which of course I'm in Belgium, so the keyboard is different if you are living in the United States. The language we're going to install is English, which is just the only option we have. So click next. So I'm not going to repair, I'm going to install a fresh installation. So it's trying to set it up. Here you can see we have 2 options. We have the standard evaluation and we have the data center. So for now, I'm just going to use the data center, the desktop experience for this because this is a domain controller. I don't want to use the standard evaluation because with the data center we have more options to install Windows features. So let's just click next. So accept the license terms and click next. And here we have the option to actually upgrade. If for example, you want to upgrade from Windows Server 2016, you can upgrade from Windows Server 2016 to 2019. But right now we are doing a clean installation, and I'm going to just use all their unallocated space for this installation. So click next. And when you click next, then the installation will start. So I will come back again when the installation has completed. So but for the Windows 10, it is actually the same process. I can just choose my language, which is Belgium, and click next, and here we click install. So it's actually the same process like what we did for the Windows Server. So you select the operating system you want to install, just click next, and automatically you can as well allocate all the unallocated space for the disk, and then continue with the installation. So here we are back. What happened is this: I've installed the operating system for the domain, the Windows Server 2019. So let me just show you that this is a Windows Server 2019. If I go to System, and here we can see that this is actually an operating system of Windows Server 2019 data center evaluation. And if I go to the Windows 10 as well, we've also installed the system. Let me just click System, and here we also see that this is also a Windows 10 Enterprise Evaluation version 1903. So what I also did was this. So I went to the control panel. Let me just cancel this and go to the start menu, and I go to the control panel. And here I actually make sure, first of all, you will need to make sure that you've installed all the required updates. So just go to update and check for update and make sure that all the required update has been installed. That's one. And two, make sure that you've installed your antivirus on this computer, and also make sure that you've configured the remote access. You've tried to block it because it is a data center that no one should just gain access to it easily. So what I actually did, I also went to the network and sharing, and here I give this because you are not allowed to give a domain controller an IP address from a DHCP server. So the IP address need to be static. So here you can see what I did is I disabled the version 6 IP version 6 address. So I also went to the IP version 4 on the properties, and here I used a static IP address for this station so that my DHCP, my router, will not assign this IP address to a different computer if, for example, this domain controller is down. And here's my default gateway, and also this is also going to be my preferred DNS for any computer that is trying to connect to this domain controller. So click OK. And here, if I go to my workstation, I also did the same. So let me just go to the control panel. And here, if I go to the control panel of my workstation, I go to the internet. Here I went to properties. You can see I also disabled the version 6. And here on other properties, I have also assigned an IP address, which must be on the same range with the domain controller. If not, you will not be able to connect your computer to that domain controller. And here you can see I've actually given the preferred DNS of my domain controller, which is this, and this is the DNS of my router, so that my computer should be able to access the internet. So click OK, cancel, cancel. So I'm going to go back to my control panel. So I have the option actually to go to server, and here when I click on my local server, you can see my computer host name is still actually the name which was pre-configured for this server. So I can just click here and decide to change this name. Let me just give it the name domain 001 and click OK. So I need to restart this computer to complete this configuration. Restart now. So I've changed my my domain server host name. When I go to here you can see the domain computer name has been changed. So what we need to do actually, because this is going to be my domain controller, so we need to add a roles and future. So I'm just going to add a roles and future because we're going to add a server role to this domain server. So it's going to be the select server from this pool. So it's just for this domain. So what I actually want to install is the Active Directory domain services. So when I click on that, some extra features will be also installed. Here you can see the Active Directory Administrative Center is being installed. The snapping and command line tools will be installed. The Active Directory module for Windows PowerShell as well will be installed. So just click Add Features and click Next. Then click Next again. Here, let me just go back. Here you can see the group policy management has been selected automatically. And let's just scroll down. And you can see the remote server administration tools has also been selected. And so like the Windows Defender was already installed by default. If I scroll down here, we don't have any other options that were installed. So here we have the option to actually configure Office 365 Azure Active Directory Connect, but for this video we are not going to do that. Just click next, and let's say let me just click on restart this server if this is necessary, then click install. So now the installation is going to take some time. I'm going to pause this video and come back again when the installation has been completed. So the installation of the future installation has been completed on this domain server. So what we are now being asked is to promote this server to domain controller, but also have the option if I close this. So here you can see we have a notification. If I click on the notification, it says promote this server to a domain controller. So I'm going to promote this server to a domain controller. Just click there, and then we are being given three options actually. Add a domain controller to an existing domain. No, that is not what we want to do. Add a new domain to an existing forest. That is not actually what we want to do. We want to add a new forest. So I'm going to give it just kejocomputers.com and then click next. So it's been actually checked if that name does not exist. So actually here you can see where this is going to also be our DNS server, and also it's going to be automatically be our global catalog. So I'm going to just enter my password, my recovery password. So it's a type the directory service restore mode password. Should in case something go wrong, you can actually use this password to restore the directory service. So the forest functional level, I'm going to leave it for 2016, but you can as well leave it for 2012 R2 or even 2008. But I'm going to leave it for 2016, which for the domain functional level, you only have one option for 2016. So just click next. Here it says a delegate for DNS server cannot be created because so cannot be found. Well, this is actually a standard image message you're going to receive. So just don't panic and just click next. So it's trying to verify the NetBIOS name to see if that name has not been assigned to a different domain. And okay, you can see the name is still available. So just click next. And here we have the database folder, the log4 files, the size folder. So well, to me it's advisable to actually leave this folder on this domain controller, but sometimes you may be working in a very big company and the database may be in an SQL server or maybe in a different folder, but I would advise to leave it on the same path where you are going to install the Windows server, and click next. So it's going to review and see if everything is fully correct. But what you can actually do, you can actually copy the script. You can view the script. Let me just view the script. Here you can see we can actually copy the script and use the same PowerShell script to deploy the server, because this what you are doing right now can as well be configured using PowerShell script. So you can copy the script or save it as a PowerShell.ps1 and then use it in a different server to deploy, to promote that server to a domain controller. So just click next. So it's going to do some prerequisite check to see if everything is okay before you can continue. If everything is not fine, you're going to receive an error message, which it will tell you to actually verify the message before you can continue. Here it says all prerequisite checks passed successfully, and if I scroll down, you can see everything it was fine. So I just click install, and right now the complete installation has started. So it's going to take some time to install. I'm going to pause this video and then come back again when the installation has been completed. So you can see right now I'm about to sign out because the installation has just been completed. So my server is going to restart and then the process will be completed. So here you can see that the computer has been restarted. So I have the option actually to go to other user and log on locally. I can still log on to this computer locally, but I will need to log on as a domain controller here at Kejo Computers. So let me just tap my password and then enter. You can see the settings have been applied, and here I've been logged on in as a domain in the domain controller, but not locally, but here if I go to start menu, on the start menu, and I click system, and let me just show you that the host name has changed. Let me just go to system info, and here we can see this now the full domain of kjocomputers.com. So, but we still need to configure some things on this computer. So let me just go to my server manager, which is still being refreshed. Okay, go to tools, and here we have the active directory users and computers, and we have the DNS. So first of all, let's go to active directory users and computers, because okay, right now we see we have the Kjo computer. So I'm going to create a different organization unit and just call it, let me just go to organization unit, and here we have protect containers from accidental deletion. So when you check this, actually someone cannot just delete this organization unit. They will receive an error message that the organization unit cannot be deleted. So they'll just need to go to the properties and uncheck this box before they can delete this message. So let me just create a new organization unit where I'm going to place all my workstation and users. So here I can decide to create new organization unit and just call this one users, and then call this compute. Sorry, I'm going to need to create a new organization unit, and then just call this computers. So here I'm going to create a new user. Let me just create a new user here. I'm going to call this Kelvin Johnson. So this user's name is going to be Kelvin.Johnson. I'm going to click next, and I'll say password never expired, and I'm going to just make sure that Kelvin becomes a domain administrator. Go to, so right now if I go to under users, here you can see we have some like we have the domain enterprise administrator, we also have the domain administrator. So I'm going to make Kelvin actually a domain administrator. Members, I'm going to just add him to be, let me just add Kelvin to be a member of the domain administrator, and also give him access to become the enterprise admin as well. So let me just add Kelvin Johnson to this list, and next. So let me just sign out and then sign in back again with Kelvin Johnson's account. Go to view, to delete, and then switch user, go to other user, and then so a new profile is going to be created for Kelvin Johnson. Here you can see a new profile is being created for me. So now I've been logged on as a different user, not as a main administrator. So it's mostly advisable not to log on to a domain controller as an administrator, but mostly as a user, you may have some domain privilege to perform some activities in this domain controller. So right now I'm going to go to tools again. Here I'll go to Active Directory users and computers. And here, let's just create a different, under my organization unit, let me create one new user. It's going to be just an ordinary user, just Nora Johnson. So Nora is going to just be just an ordinary user. We know she will not have the admin privilege on this computer. Finish. And here we have Nora Johnson is just going to be an honorary user. So let me go to the DNS server here. Just click on DNS. And as you can see, we have DNS. We have the forward lookup zone in this computer. Forward lookup zone. But I want to actually create a reverse lookup zone, because right now we don't have any reverse lookup zone, because when you try to search for a computer with using the host name, it will actually bounce back, or you will not get any reply because the reverse lookup zone has not been configured. So I'm going to configure the reverse lookup zone. It's going to be the primary zone, and here we can say to all DNS server running a domain controller in this domain, and it's going to be version 4. So so what you actually need is the first 3 octets of the IP address. So let me just go to the command prompt, and here we'll have to search for what the IP address is of this, and here we can just put in the, let me see, it's going to be 192.168.192.168.172. And click next, and only I'm going to allow only secure dynamic updates recommended for Active Directory, but you can as well have the option to allow both non-secure, which I will not advise, or do not allow dynamic updates. So I'm going to allow only secure dynamic updates and click finish. And here you can see we have our reverse lookup zone has been created. So what I'm going to do, right click on this, the domain controller properties, and I'm going to update the associated pointer. Just click apply. So right now, our reverse lookup zone will be created. So you see here we have the pointer has been created for the reverse lookup zone. So it's more easy. So when I try to actually just ping the domain 001, so I'm going to get a reply from the reverse lookup zone. If not, I will not get this reply from the zone. So let's just click this away, close the DNS server. Let me go to my workstation and try to add this workstation to this domain server. So first of all, you need to make sure that you are able to ping this domain server. Let me search again and see what the IP address is. The IP address is ends with 204. So if I go to this workstation here and I try to ping that 192.168.174.204, ping 192.168. Here you can see I'm able to access the domain controller. So if you cannot access the domain controller, automatically you will not be able to join that domain server. So what I need to do is this. I will just need to go to my control panel here, and here go to system, and see, you can see we still have the computer host name is still actually the default name that was given to this computer during installation. So what I need to do is to change the host name and actually join this workstation to the server, to the domain controller at the same time. So we have actually the option to actually just go to the network ID, then go from the next process. But I'm going to go the easy way. First of all, let me just click on change, and I'm going to say this is going to be the 001. And the domain is going to be kjocomputers.com, and click OK. So I'm just trying to check if the domain is accessible, and then I'm going to enter. I will need to enter my domain credentials. If not, I will not be able to join the domain. And just enter your password and click OK. Here you see welcome to the Kjo Computers domain. Click OK, and then so we need to restart this computer actually for everything to work very well. You must restart your computer to apply these changes. Just click close and restart now. So I will come back again if this computer has fully restarted. So right now this computer has been restarted after I joined the computer to the domain. So I'm not going to log in again as Kelvin, because if not I'll be logging into this computer locally. So just click other user, and here you see we have the sign in to Kjo Computers. So I'm going to sign in with the account of Nora Johnson, which I created. Just click enter the password and click enter. You see the Nora is being logged onto this computer. So while Nora profile is being created, let me go back to the domain controller and show you some things. So here, if I go back to the domain controller and I go to actually Active Directory to my Active Directory users and computers. And here, if I go to computers, I can see that I have a workstation that has been added to this domain, which is this workstation. So what I need to do is just to move this workstation to this organization unit. So we can, if we want to apply any group policy, we can as well apply the policy to these K2 computers and not the computer themselves. So here we see, if you can see, we have the domain controller. So you can see we just have one domain. But if you work in a company, probably you may have like two domain, which is going to be the primary one and the secondary domain controller. And you can see this also actually a global catalog for this domain, because this is the only domain I have in this environment. So let me see if Nora has been fully signed in. Here you can see Nora has been fully signed in to this computer. So let me just go to system here and show you. If I go to system, and let me just go click on system info, and here you can see that this computer has fully joined the domain, and right now it's a part of the domain of Keju computers. So that's how you actually one install a domain controller and promote it to be install the Windows server and promote it to be a domain controller, and then add a workstation to that server. So, but you must make sure that the IP address of your workstation correspond with that of the server. But if that is not the case, you may probably have a default gateway on your environment which you use, or kind of a router which you actually use to make sure your workstation can access the domain controller for it to work. So thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video, and I hope and I believe you've learned a lot from this video. Please, if you think this video has been of any help to you, if you are new to IT, you can also send me a personal email. I'm going to leave my email address here. You can send me a personal email. You can as well leave a comment and I'll reply as quick as possible. My name is Kelvin Johnson. Thank you for taking your time to watch my video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT related video. Thank you.